These are the voyages of Whiskey Mountains in space, drinking whiskey where no Vulcan has gone before. Welcome to Whiskey Mountains. I'm Lieutenant Adriana, a Vulcan serving on the USS Enterprise. And today, you may notice I'm wearing the wrong uniform for this Enterprise. I'm on the holodeck. And I misplaced my original series uniform. But today, for this special Halloween episode, we will be reviewing the newest ECBP C921. This is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is the third of 3 yearly releases. C921, 9 being September, except it's late October, and we just got it. As far as our scans have shown us across the galaxy, not many bottles of this have dropped, but hopefully they will be soon. This is a 12-year age-stated non-chill filtered bourbon by Elijah Craig, aka the Heaven Hill Distillery. This release is 120.2 proof, which in other human terms is also 60.1 ABV. For some reason, during the 20th and 21st centuries, planet Earth decided to do both. Purchasing this bottle will run you around $70 to $75. That's approximately MSRP, as ECBPs did go up in price in the year of 2021 on planet Earth. Everything you need to know behind the bottle, and I've already got it in the glass. Not that a Vulcan would smile like that. I'm just trying to emulate human emotions of excitement over bourbon. And now I'm going to put down this bottle. It's a pretty straightforward, trying to be Vulcan, but also can't help but not be Vulcan when talking about bourbon. It's a pretty straightforward nose. There's a lot of vanilla, caramel, and oak, which are probably what you're going to expect from a 12-year bourbon from Elijah Craig. This is 120 proof, so it's a little bit higher than the B521, which people had been upset about, but still certainly not all that high. But you're not really getting hit with any alcohol fumes on the nose, which I really like. There's really not that much more to it. It doesn't have the most complex nose, but let's try it out on the palate. Girl, this will make a freaking Vulcan shimmy. This is good stuff. I really like the C921. Tried it out last night and immediately felt like this one's going to be more popular than the B521. I did like the B521, but it definitely missed the mark for a lot of people. I think this might bring people a little bit more back into it. It's got like a smooth creaminess on the texture, which is kind of nice for a fairly high proof 12-year, oaky bourbon. But I also get kind of like a sea salt caramel kind of thing going on. It's really good. Definitely a lot of cinnamon. And it was funny, when we tried it last night, my husband said that this was very fall, and I think it's because of that cinnamon that I'm getting in this. It's got kind of like a cinnamon in a pie sort of vibe to it. So it's very appropriate that it was released in the fall, even if it was later than September. And really the finish really kind of lingers. The spice of the finish kind of lingers. I'm a fan of this one. This is just so cool. I think it's awesome. Okay. Already more of the caramel is starting to come forward, but there's kind of a kick to it that's not so much of a peppery kick. It's almost like a sea salt caramel, which I think is really cool and maybe kind of adds to that fall vibe. I don't know if sea salt caramels are considered fall on planet Earth, but on planet Vulcan they are. I don't think we eat treats. That sucks. Ooh, the nose is starting to open up actually a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to let this sit for a bit. This is a higher proof, and I haven't really had anything to drink today before this. So I'm going to let this sit for a bit, come back to it and see what we think. Meanwhile, if you don't know, I'm a scientist in real life, and so I always wear the blue Star Trek uniform. Go science! I'm not on a trail, so I can't tell you about it. This is the bridge from the original series, if you're not familiar. I can't help but look at my computer screen because the bridge is just so cool that that's there. But my camera is up here, so this is where I should be looking. Okay, so now I have let it sit out for like 20-25 minutes, to be honest. And sometimes it's really hard to taste things or smell things at home instead of on a trail, because if your husband's cooking, you might smell that instead. So I'm getting like toast. I don't think he was making toast. And that could just be the char coming forward. This definitely is an oaky char forward whiskey. With like maybe kind of a touch of burnt caramel. Definitely there's more flavor coming out on the nose now that it's opened up than I was getting right at the very beginning. And at that point, I had just poured it. So often it takes a few minutes for the, I think for me at least, for the smell to really start coming out. No, I really think I am getting toast on this. I don't think that's from home or from the bridge. People shouldn't be cooking toast on the bridge. Whoops. Okay. The nuttiness is really in the finish. Not super dry nuttiness. Maybe that cinnamon earlier in the fall in the pie. Maybe kind of like pecan pie. I love pecan pie. Pecan pie.
Your pecan pie.
Of your pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Even Vulcans love When Harry Met Sally. Okay. I'd say there's a lot of cinnamon. Definitely that oak is there on the palate. There's even like a little bit of kind of a leathery thing going on. I still say that sea salt caramel though from earlier. Oh, it is so good. And the finish is actually really nice. I have not tried this in a flight yet with the earlier releases from 2021, but I think by far that it would win. I do have the A121. I never really revisit it, so I feel like that must mean I wasn't a huge fan. I like the B521. I would not say this quite competes with like C920 or B520 and the complexity that they have, but it would be fun to try together. But I will say, I think this is by far the best one of 2021. Very much worth getting. I mean, I'm still tasting it on the palate. Like, you know, that finish is kind of still going and still sort of revisiting. It is just, and it's definitely much more complex than like the B521 was. Again, still not as complex as maybe the C920 or B520. But I do kind of like that I'm not getting as much cherry as I do in those ones. Some of the releases from last year. I haven't really gotten much cherry this year. And I kind of like that. I just love the way the cinnamon and nuttiness really come in strong in the finish. And it's really nice. And it just kind of has a creamy sort of mouthfeel to it. This is a very good 70s. I'm hoping we're able to find a second bottle because I'd like to be able to enjoy this as a please. So, like I said, this will make a Vulcan shimmy. This is good stuff. So if you do find it, I highly recommend getting it. I know that they can be somewhat up in price, but I assure you, buying the ECBP C921 would be the logical choice. Fascinating. I had to do it. I hope you all have a great Halloween or Dia de los Muertos, or just hanging out, whatever you want to do. So find a reason to nerd out and enjoy some bourbon. Salud. even Vulcans know to join Women of Whiskeys. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are reviewing the latest release. Ooh, that was a little George T. Kirk, wasn't it, with all the pauses? George T. Kirk? Really? James T. Kirk. George was his dad. Wow. So, bleh. Fascinating.
These are the fuck.
12-year chill filter, not, bleh. This is a 12-year non-chill filtered. You can see it.